Maseches Bobekama Daf Chavtes Amud base in the top of the page. We are just at the beginning of the page. Isn't that great? But we definitely have to do some hakdama. We need some introduction regarding the machlokes we had yesterday. The same thing, the plot thickens today, but it's not too difficult. Don't worry. Let's summarize what we had yesterday. This year's Leulu Nishma Salvi Moshe Menachem Ben Akiva, Rus Bas Shalom, Soro Bas Moshe, Rochel Bas Mentil Lerofuas. Yudis Bas Rivka, Rabbi. Sorry? Yudis Bas Rivka. Yesterday, what did we say yesterday? A person clumsily, clumsily bumps into a wall while he's holding his jug, shrach, boom, and two things happen. Well, it falls down. Possibly as it's falling down and the water is dripping, it's already damaging someone on its way down. And afterwards, he didn't care enough to actually pick up the broken pieces and sponge the water. And therefore, what happens then? We have a double machlokes between Rabbi Meir and Rabbi Yehuda. By the way, Rabbi Yehuda and Rabbanan are interchangeable. Don't be confused with the text. Yeah, it's Rabbi Meir all the time, and Rabbi Yehuda and Rabbanan are the other side. I call it Rabbi Yehuda just to make it simpler, but sometimes Rabbi Yehuda is called Rabbanan. He's the other side. Rabbi Meir says as follows. Yeah, we have to do the review anyways, not just because of you. Rabbi Meir says like this. Well, Rabbi Meir is Meir Machmir. Remember, Rabbi Meir is the hardliner regarding being more strict with the bottle owner. And he says, first, if you bumped into something, that's considered not as oines, it's considered as pshia. You should have been more careful. You considered as negligent, and therefore, the actual thing is mechayiv you. That's no excuse. Oh, I bumped, I didn't notice. I'm so sorry. Sorry. Your name is Sorry, my name is Rifki, as they say. Sorry. That's in other words, Rameir says you bumped into it, that's bad news, you're chayiv. Secondly, after the fall, there was a damage because somebody half an hour later bumped into the shrapnel or slipped in the water. I'm still in Rabbi Meir. We have a mental chart in our minds. Rabbi Meir, we're now in the Rabbi Meir section. Rabbi Meir is very easy. Rabbanan are more complicated. Rabbi Meir says, chayiv. If somebody slipped into the water half an hour later, you had enough time to clean it. You had enough time to clean the mess. That's bo. Says Rabbi Meir. That's what I learned in Cheder or Talmud Torah. That's bo. That's in Rishus Harabim. It slipped over there, and you didn't care enough to clean it. You didn't place it, it's true. It happened by accident. Sorry, but you had enough time to clean it, therefore you're chayiv. Rabbi Meir is nice and easy and makmir, or maybe machmir. Yeah, you're chayiv on the fall, on the bumping. You're nitkal poshea. In that machlokes, poshea, you are poshea. Big red X, and also mafkir nezokov b'rshus harabim. Somebody, even if you don't own it, and you say, I'm hefker, it's not mine, I'm not cleaning it because I gave up on it. Says Rabbi Meir, thank you for giving up on it, but that's bo b'rshus harabim is hefker. Therefore, Rabbi Meir puts another red X. It's so easy to remember Rabbi Meir. Good, beautiful. Rabbanan / Rabbi Yehuda are on the other side, and they are mekel on both accounts. It's much easier than other machlokes where there's mix and match between. Here, there's very clear machmir, very clear mekel. Rabbi Yehuda is the one that's mekel. Rabbi Yehuda says in both accounts is potu, meaning the fact that you bump into the wall, you are potur. Nitkal lav poshea. We forgive him as long as our edim that can prove it. We define collision, bumping, tripping as just a sad accident and is not chayiv if it fell down as it was falling down. It's oines to the level of even, we don't say odemud loilam, it's beyond that. And secondly, after it was on the floor and he right away was mafkir, he came to 3 people and said, this is hefker, it's not mine, I don't want it, I'm not interested. Yeah, or maybe, by the way, Jeffrey, I don't know if what I told you was right. Could be you can even assume it's hefker because most people don't want the water and the broken pieces, right? That's another discussion which we're not going into. But let's say the person is mafkir, the leftovers, the mess he left behind. Says Rabbi Yehuda, he's potu. Why is he potu if somebody bumped into it? Says Rabbi Yehuda, because when the Torah is mechayiv on bo, the Torah is mechayiv on bo while I kept ownership, while I maintained my ownership over the bore. Well, how could that be? Let's say I have a Rishus HaYochid, I have a very nice backyard. I'm now Rabbi Yehuda's spokesman. Rabbi Yehuda learns because of different psukim and stories, which we'll see in a different sugya, different tanoim there. The Classical bor of the Torah is not a person who dug a bor in the street. No, not like you were taught all the time by your brainwashing North Korean rabbi. No. Says Rabbi Yehuda, the story is as follows. I had Rosh Yochid. It's my own backyard, and all kinds of bumps, and there are boros, and those boros are worth money. I have some pits over there. Maybe I want to store my treasure, my money. I don't know, the body of his dead dog. He wants the pit over there. And then he's such a nice guy. He was mafkir the backyard. All the children of the neighborhood with their donkeys and the cows, they can all come and play. But the bow he maintained for himself. The bow he kept, and also the bumpy, ugly stone in the middle he keeps for himself. And then the kids bump into it or they fall into it. Then he's chayev because it's Rosh Hashanah. Why is it Rosh Hashanah? He was mafkir it. He disowned the whole area. But the bow remained his, then he's chayev. But if the bow is something that was lechatchila always hefker, he's potu. That's what he says. Now, that's Rabbi Yehuda. We added yesterday, and we'll see it more today, that Rabbi Yehuda's two kulas may, listen carefully, may or may not be connected, meaning, possibly, Rabbi Yehuda would say, this is the Nimuke Yosef I quoted yesterday. Oh, maybe I'll read it today inside, if I don't want to take more of your time. If I manage to flip quickly, I'll go there.
You said Where? Yehuda was the Rosh Yochid in his own back garden.
And it became Rosh Hashanah. Now, for a change, I didn't make a mistake. It was Rosh Yochid, he was mafkir, disowned it. So he made it in Rosh Hashanah because everyone can go there. But the bor he maintained. So you have like a sore thumb. You have a Rosh Yochid bor in the middle of Rosh Hashanah. That's what the Torah is mechayev about. Says in the Mukhe Yosef that, beautiful lashon which I'd like to read inside. Okay. Yes, I'm reading the Mukhe Yosef. The Mukhe Yosef says as follows. And he's actually, that's a good way to preempt today's Gemara. It's a good preview for today's Gemara. It says in Mukhe Yosef, don't read it inside unless you have the Mukhe Yosef of the Gemara, it's fine, but it'll take you time to get there, I think. It says like this. When a person actually takes the nezik and mafkir the nezik in Roshus Harabim, as opposed to what I just told you now, even according to Rabbi Yehuda, he's chayev. He is chayev. Why over here is potur? Ela b'mafkir nezokov shebau al yidei oines. Dumia de nitkal the soifer beoines v'tichilos elav b'pshia. Which means, what did we say yesterday? Possibly, and I'm saying possibly, there are two options. Maybe Rabbi Yehuda and Rabbanan are only mekel when the person mistakenly dropped the jug there unexpectedly, complete oinus. He had no idea what he was doing, and then he was left on the floor without his will, against his will, and like it's not even his. Then we say, as I told you yesterday, there's no one moment when the camera can catch him and say, now you're chayev. When it fell, it was a complete mistake, which Rabbi Yehuda exempts you for. It's oinus to bump, yeah? And when afterwards it stayed, he says, it's as if I didn't bring it there. It's killer, the wind brought it. The cat ate it. The butler did it. It's not me. Me mainly, even though I left it there, then I'm not chayev. Even though he's not torud anymore, he managed to rest, have his coffee, talk to someone, he recovered from the bump. Now say, excuse me, clear your mess? No. At what point are you mechayevim? By the time when it fell, it was honest, not his fault. Because you say, okay, but now that it's on the floor, no, get your act together and clean it now, be responsible. Because at the time of the fall, he was quick on the draw, and he was mafki, and he says, it's not mine, I don't want it anymore. It's as if something came from after, from the wind. Imagine yourself, the wind, hurricane into Amud B'Shemesh, brought some nezik to Park Elon. Then you'll scream at me, Akiva, you live in Park Elon. Why didn't you clean it? I'm sorry, I'm a good citizen, but it's not mine. Why call the area? What do you want from my life? But if I placed my bumpy thing in the middle of Ayalon and I said, okay, I'm just living in there, and it wasn't honest, I did it on purpose, then Rabbanan would agree that he's chayiv. Basically, we're saying here two things. I hope I'm not confusing you. There are two ways to understand Rabbi Yehuda / Rabbanan. Again, 4 boxes in your mind. Rabbi Meir, Osir. Rabbi Meir is Osir and all accounts. Chayiv, Machmir, Brisker, Chazonish, Rabbi Meir. Rabbi Yehuda has 2 boxes. Box number one of Rabbi Yehuda, the fact that it fell, the first initial reaction of the bump, Oines, Potu, sweetie, okay, nothing happened. So sorry, Beseder. You're sorry, we accept the apology. What about Rabbi Yehuda post-folium, after it fell? Rabbi Yehuda, there are 2 ways to understand why Rabbi Yehuda says you're potur. Rabbi Yehuda says potur. Either because Rabbi Yehuda holds that you are potur always on something that's not yours, very mechudash, you're potur. If it's not mine, I'm potur in it. You know when the Torah says bor, only if I own the bor. If I disown the bor, I'm not chayiv. Or alternative shot in Rabbi Yehuda, no. Rabbi Yehuda doesn't always say so makel, so out of line makel to say you always potter and bor. No, you potter and bor if you placed it there be'oines. If it bumped, it fell, it wasn't expected. So the whole placement, whatever you call it, the whole positioning the bor over there was be'oines, then I can say at what point are you mechayiv me? When it fell, it wasn't my intention, and right as it fell, I said, it's not mine. So at no given point, you can say that I'm chayev. So there are 2 ways to understand where Rabbi Yehuda tells you that if half an hour after the fall, people tripped and slipped and everything, according to your potter, either you're always potter, or you're potter only if it came after an accidental fall in your onus. That's, if you got this, great. Then you have the next shear in the palm of your hand. And if you didn't get it, then good, because now you'll understand it from the Gemara. Okay? There are 2 ways to understand Rabbi Yehuda's tour of the post-Nefila. Either he always patters somebody who's a hefker, even if somebody places a hefker thing in the street. Let's say I take a hefker stone from Lachish, yeah? And we're going to have such a case later. I don't like this stone to be in front of my house. So a good citizen, what do I do like a good citizen? I take the stone from in front of my house in Lachish. It's bumpy, it's disturbing me. What do I do? I throw it in Park Ayalon. How nice and educational. But I'm taking hefker, placing the hefker in the street, right, where it wasn't there before. According to one shot in Rabbi Yehuda, I'm potu. According to the second shot in Rabbi Yehuda, I'm chayiv, because it was not by accident, it was on purpose. You only potu if you're mafkir something which was accidental, the fall. But if you did it on purpose, or you crushed it on purpose to the floor, then you chayiv. These are 2 ways to understand Rabbi Yehuda. That's the best I can provide with you now. Now you'll see the whole story evolving in the Gemara in much clearer way. Okay, questions? Only if you have something specifically what I said now. Not developments, that we'll discuss now. Okay, I did not explain that. I thought that's simple, but I should say it. Everyone agrees. Even Rabbi Yehuda's most liberal version, if I own the stone, if I own the bundle, I own the bow, of course I'm chayiv, no question. Maybe Rav would say differently. We're not in Rav now, okay? Leave Rav alone because he's just not in the story now. If I own the bow, okay, then for sure I'm chayiv. Yes, we'll see it later on clearly. The whole discussion is of Yehuda, mafkir. The title of the machloekes, the second machloekes, is mafkir nezokov. Everybody knows what mafkir means. Mafkir means it's not mine. But if it's mine, we'll see the case later. I'm very happy with this question that's preempting the Gemara. Let's say I take a stone, from Lachish, and I say, hey, that's a nice stone. Actually, it's a nice looking stone. I'm an artist. I'm going to carve out something nice for Rosh Hashanah with a stone. Okay, but right now, my wife is not going to be happy if I bring a stone to the house. So I take it from Lachish. I magbia with the kavano. I want to be kohen of the stone. And then I place it down in Nachshon, because I don't want this to be next to me. But I still want to own it. And I told the Nachshon people, nobody from Nachshon should touch my stone. You touch my stone, I smash your face. Chalila. Even so, in other words, even if I own the stone because it was koined, then everyone agrees that I'm chayiv because it's mine. The whole discussion is mafkir nezokov. If I was mafkir the nezikin and then but placed it on purpose, that's a question. Would Rabbi Yehuda be mekel even then, or maybe Rabbi Yehuda is only mekel if it accidentally fell, and then we have the camera saying, at no point you can be chayiv me. At the beginning it fell. At the end it's not mine. I'm slipping between the chairs here, between the cracks. Then that's the other shot. I prefer to continue. Let's hear you, and then there will be a lot discussed here more. But go ahead. Yes, I'm listening to you.
Is the Gemara just giving a concept of something that dropped?
Let's start Amud. We had a long intro. Rabbi Yochanan says Rabbi Yochanan regarding Machlokes Rabbi Yehuda. Rabbi Yochanan is in a Moira, commenting on Machlokes Rabbi Yehuda and Rabbi Meir. Lachar nefila Machlokes. After the fall, then there's a Machlokes. What's a Machlokes? It fell. I did not clear the mess on time. We have a machlokes about mafkir nezokov and mechayev for nezek, which is hefker or not. Frag the Gemara. That's all Rabbi Yochanan said. It's important to know. The Gemara now is trying to derive something from Rabbi Yochanan. Aval b'shas nefila mai divra kol potu. What do you mean? Only after the nefila is machlokes, but regarding the actual bump. The collision itself, whether it's oinus or poishea, everyone says you potter, you're oinus. Is that what Rabbi Yochanan trying to say? We said all the time there are two machlokesim. That was Abaye. There are two machlokesim, right? First of all, nitkal poshea is bumping chayiv or not, and secondly, my nezek is already on the floor and it did not do anything about it, chayiv or not. Says Rabbi Yochanan, the machlok is only after the fall. But what are you trying to say, Rabbi Yochanan? That before the fall, the actual bumping itself, everyone agrees is ptul, is an oines. That says the Gemara doesn't make sense. Rabbi Yochanan would say such a thing. The Kama Rabbi Yochanan Kamon. Rabbi Yochanan later on in the next page it says, Lo tema mesnisin Rabbi Meiri de'omar nitkal poshea. There's a Mishnah over there which I will not quote. Rabbi Yochanan says, that Mishnah over there about the traffic laws, it doesn't apply to Rabbi Meir. That Mishnah is not to Rabbi Meir, because Rabbi Meir says nitkal poshea. Rabbi Meir says that the one nitkal is poshea, is criminal, is chayiv, is terrible. It's not just a sad, forgivable accident, outright, no. So what do you see? Mefurash, Michlal, Rabbi Meir, Mechayiv. So obviously Rabbi Meir is Mechayiv. How can you tell me they only argue after the fall, but not about the actual bump? Mefurash, he says Rabbi Meir is Mechayiv. Okay, so now let's go to the other direction. Elamai, Divra Kol Chayiv. Maybe you're going to say, you know what? When Rabbi Yochanan said that they only argue after the fall, he means that before the fall, the actual collision, the actual bumping, the nitkal, everyone says chayiv. And that's why Rabbi Yochanan says Rabbi Meir is mechayiv. Says Gemara doesn't make sense either. Excuse me. Dami dekama Rabbi Yochanan lekamon. I'm quoting the same thing again and listen to the intonation. Lo tema misnisin Rabbi Meir hidama nitkal poshehu. What does Rabbi Yochanan say? Our Mishnah, that Mishnah later on cannot be Rabbi Meir because he's the one who says nitkal poshea. He's the one who says that the nitkal is negligent and bad and chayiv. Michlal, that is to say, the patri rabbanon. Would that be correct to say, we have a few people in the room and Yitzchok doesn't think eating chazir is good. Mashma, all of us do. It's shtuyot. It's a very wrong thing to say. None of us eats chazir Baruch Hashem, right? And therefore, you can't say that there's no machlokes about the time of collision, because basically, when Rabbi Yochanan says that Rabbi Meir is the one who holds that bumping is chayev. Mashma, that Rabbi Yehuda and Rabbanon, they say what? That is patur. If so, what did Rabbi Yochanan mean when he said la'achar nefila machlokes? Look at the very, very first line, and also that we are now. We have eyes and fingers on both. The first line of Rabbi Yochanan said, le'achar nefila machlokes. Mashma, the machlokes is after the fall. Mashma, the before the fall. They all agree. It's not true. They don't agree. Answers the Gemara, beautiful answer, and it's all about intonation and tones. Kamash Malani, you know what Rabbi Yochanan meant? The mafkir nezokov the hocho, who the patri rabbanon the onusu, which means, says Rabbi Yochanan the follows. You should read Rabbi Yochanan le'achar nefila machloikes. When Rabban and Rabbi Yehuda say that if you mafkir the nezek, you're potter, only if it came after the fall. Remember the Nimukei Yosef? Yes? In other words, when Rabbi Yehuda and Rabbanan are so forgiving and they say, okay, it dropped, it was a mistake, and you don't have to clear the mess, or not that you don't have to. Your potter, that's only if it came as a result after an onus crash landing. By the way, I spoke about onus in Hebrew. Nechitat onus is crash landing. That's okay to say in Hebrew. Nechitat onus, crash landing. Aval mafkir nezokov, very good. Aval mafkir nezokov the alma mechayvi. But Rabbanon, if you stam mafkir nezik viciously, you mafkir the nezik, but you placed it or you crushed it on purpose, and you dafka did it, and it's b'chavana. I placed it in parka alone with hefker. Then I'm chayiv even with Rabbanon. In other words, you misread Rabbi Yochanan. It's beautiful. It doesn't mean to say le'achar nefila as opposed to before nefila. It means to say le'achar nefila as opposed to le'achar on purpose. Only after fall you potter on the leftover nezikin, as opposed to after a vicious mechuvan planned agenda of placing in there b'chavana. Then you're not potter afterwards.
Not just Rabbi,
No, Rabbi Meir. Meir is always mechayiv you. We're in Rabbi Yehuda now. Thank you. No, he's right, Jeff. Jeff is right. Not only Rabbi Meir is mechayiv you, but in this case also Rabbi Rabban mechayiv you. No, good. He means I got you. Sorry, I screamed because I like to scream. Very good. And Echinami, which means according to Rabbi Yochanan, what's the story? Let's revise again and again until we get it. Rabbi Meir says chayiv. Leave Rabbi Meir. He's a brisker chazanishnik. Rabbi Meir any middle daber. He's machmer on all sides. Cheftiba. Rabbi Yehuda is the one that's debatable. Rabbi Yehuda was Meiko. After the whole thing fell down, and half an hour, he didn't clean it yet, Rabbi Yehuda says potter. Says Rabbi Yochanan, you know when Rabbi Yehuda and Rabbanan patter you? Only if the original fall was a complete mistake, which he believes was a mistake. Nitkal oines. Mimela, what happens later, he says, I was mafkir it right away. Yeah, he had enough mind, to, excuse me, people do accidents, and the first thing to think about is the insurance and the money. Same thing over here. So this is the Torah version. The guy feels a boom bump in his back. Many people care about the money so much. At the new BMW, they say insurance, I'll get the guy into court. They think about it very quickly. So this guy over here, the second the thing fell, he was maskil. So then we say, it was an accident? Yes. It's not yours? Yes. There's no point we can mechav you. Only then, says Rabbi Yochanan, the Yehuda will patter you. But if you mafkir it on purpose and you say, yeah, I don't care. I'm placing it on alone. Let's those guys in alone deal with it. And it's vehefka bechavona. Then I'm chayiv. Urgent? Yeah.
I can't take you guys. Here you're saying that
I don't know. It's not lawyer there. I said that I don't know. I said already that it's a discussion.
Okay, so let's.
Good aura. I don't know. Itmar, if anybody will find a steer now, I'll give you a prize. Not really. I'll give you a big note to your wife. There is a hidden steer. I'm telling you now. There's a mine which I will not tell you, because the Gemara will only mention at the end of the Amud. But if you're really sharp and you follow me, you'll soon see that there's an issue here in the upcoming Gemara. Yeah, there's something here that doesn't work right. And I'm not going to tell you. Whoever finds it will get, I don't know what. Yeah, Itmar. Yeah, Itmar. Comes a statement of Machloikas Amaroim. Mafkir Nezokov. The person who's Mafkir the Nezokim. That's the case we talk about all the time. The person who's Mafkir the Nezokim. What does that mean? The stuff on the floor, I was mafkirit, my broken pieces, my water. Rabbi Yochanan Rabbi Eliezer. Chad Amar Chayev, Chad Amar Potu. Rabbi Yochanan Rabbi Eliezer, one of them says you Chayev on the broken pieces, the other one says Potu. We don't know who said what. It happens many times. We don't know which Amar said what. Says the Gemara, let's try and research. But first of all, we have a big problem here. You tell me, people, that's not the red herring yet. Didn't we just see a machloikis about mafkir nezokov chayiv rapoter? Who was the machloikis? Omer and Rabbi Yehuda. Right? Omer and Rabbi Yehuda. They're Tanoim or Amoraim? Tanoim. Here we have Rabbi Yochanan Rabbi Eliezer arguing about the same thing. And they are Amoraim. Frag the Gemara, that's not good news. Lema man de mechayiv ki Rabbi Meir. Whoever a moira is mechayev follows Rabbi Meir, or man de pota ki Rabbanon. The one who patters and says, okay, but the ever, if you didn't clean it, you're not chayev, is like Rabbanon, lechoiro. So that seems to be like the Moroim repeat the Mechalokis Rishonim. Excuse me, Tanoim. So what's the story? Is that so? That's not so good. Why are they reinventing the wheel? Says the Gemara, no. The red herring is coming soon. Rabbi Meir, nobody argues on Rabbi Meir. Leave Rabbi Meir out of the picture. Rabbi Meir, no question, everyone agrees, is mechayev always when it comes to what? Leaving your nezek after it's mufka, mezid, shoygeg, oines, rotzoin. Soon we're going to say video on Yom Kippur. Rabbi Meir doesn't care. He says, of course, you're chayiv always, no question. The question is according to Rabbanon. By the way, Rabbanon is Rabbi Yehuda, okay? I'm not going to say it all the time. We're just going to call them Rabbanon now. The Mechlokes is within Rabbanon. The same Mechlokes I mentioned to you before. Man de potar ki Rabbanon. The one who says potu means Rabbanon. Yes, I hold a Rabbanon. I hold that what? I don't care why it fell, how it fell, who fell, shme fell, whatever. Rabbanon always say potu. Why? Because they bo b'rshus Rabbi, they say it's only if it's owned by me, not if it's not owned by me. Uman de mechayev, the one who says you're chayev on leaving behind the nizikim, Omar lecha, he tells you, like Rabbi Yochanan said before, anodam yafilu Rabbanon. No. I'm not anti-Rabbanon, I'm within Rabbanon. But you know what? Like Jeffrey said, Ad kan lo pater Rabbanon al b'mafki on Nezokov. Rabbanon only patered if originally mafki on Nezokov de hocho. In our case, mushum de onusu. Like the Nemuke Yosef, meaning what? Basically, if the fall was a complete mistake, mid-air collision, boom, bump, klotzi, onus, and then afterwards, the result came about, it's on the floor, and I mafkir it right away, then Rabbanon said that I'm potter on the stuff left behind 2 hours later without me cleaning. Aval mafkir nezokov de alma, a person who's mafkir nezokov regularly, in a regular case, mafkir nezokov viciously, I would say, I mafkir nezikim, but I placed it there. I placed the disturbing big thing in the park, bechavona, michayvi, even Rabbanon be michayev, so far so good. We have the two shittas, listen carefully now. Tistayim, now we don't know who said what. We have, like these games in the newspaper, you have a column of 1, 2, 3, then you have a column of A, B, C. You have to connect the dots, right, with the lines. The kids do it in school. Now, we don't know which Amoyer said what. We have Rabbi Eliezer and Rabbi Yochanan. One of them says, according to Rabbanon, it's always potu. The other one says, no. According to Rabbanon, it's only potu if the beginning, the Bereshis Bara, was an oinus. Then the oinus continues into the ptul of Mafkir Nezokov. So far, so good. The question is, who said what? Tistayim, let us be Messiahim, let us define the Rabbi Eliezer who the Omar Chayev. The Gemara now wants to suggest, Rabbi Eliezer is the one who wants to say that unless it was a mistake, unless it was a fall, a bump, an oinus, you are chayev. If it's mezid, you're chayev. Mashma, according to Rabbi Yochanan, you'll always be potter. According to Rabbi Yochanan, if Rabbi Eliezer says X, Rabbi Yochanan says Y. According to Rabbi Yochanan, he says no. Rabbi Yochanan would say you always potter according to Rabbanon. You always potter, even b'mezid. You placed it there because it's not yours, you're a potter. You only have on nezikim on board, it's yours. Everyone's happy? Good or not so good? Dama blazo, okay, weiter. We're continuing. Life's good? You happy? Everyone good? Fine. If everyone's good, I'm also good. You happy? Rabbi Yochanan, Rabbi Eliezer? Beautiful. Dama blazo. Okay. Fine. This time, the blazo dama chayev. We're now not focusing on Rabbi Yochanan. We are focusing on Rabbi Eliezer. Let's review again. Give you another chance. Rabbi Eliezer is the one who says that when do Rabbanon pater, when do they exempt? Only when it was an accident, accidental thing. The whole thing was one big mess. There's no one point it can be mechayvim. But other than that, regularly, if I intentionally, viciously place the nezek in Roshus HaRabim, even though it's hefker, I'm chayiv, classical bo. And Rabbi Yochanan says no. Rabbi Yochanan says, according to Rabbanon, you always potter. According to Rabbi Yochanan, you always Rabbanon. According to Rabbi Yochanan, always potter. The Rabbanon do not believe bichlal that the bow I'm chayiv on unless I own the bow. Weiter. Damar chayiv. Damar blozo. Let us prove. Yes.
What I see here is that there's so many you're saying.
Thank you. No, nice clarification. Very nice. Let's see, why do we know that Rabbi Eliezer is the one who's relatively more hardliner, and he would say that you're chayev, if you're mafkir nezik intentionally, you're chayev. The Amar Rabbi Eliezer, that's a famous line. The Amar Rabbi Eliezer b'shum Rabbi Shmuel. Rabbi Eliezer quotes Rabbi Shmuel to be saying the following. Shnei dvarim enen b'shuso shel odom. There are two things that do not belong to the person. V'ason hakosuv kilu en b'shuso. And yet the Torah made it as if it's yours only to be mechayev you. In other words, you know these assets that you only get trouble from? Sometimes you own something, you only get trouble from it and nothing else. like some old abandoned car. You have to pay taxes or pay things. So here, these are the two things that are not really yours because they're not yours, financially speaking, but they are mechayev you, they cause you to be on the chiyuv in the red for something. Meilan, these are the two. Bo b'rshus harabim. You dug a bo b'rshus harabim in the middle of the street. It's not yours. That's a blazo talking. It's not yours. You dug a bo in the middle of park alone. It doesn't belong to you, and yet you're chayiv on it. We got the answer. Here we are. We see Eliezer says outright, a bo b'rshus harabim is not mine. Let's say a nice gold bar falls in there. I'm not going to kinyan chotzer. It's not mine. But if somebody else's china dishes fall in there, I'm chayiv. It's only mine for the bad things and not for the good things. That's bo b'rshus harabim. So see Eliezer holding here that clearly, that's good. That's nice. Here we just proved in a second. Eliezer believes that bo b'rshus harabim of hefker you're chayiv, and also the chometz mishesho sulamala. Yeah, did I start cleaning for Pesach already? Chometz from the 6th hour of erev Pesach ulamala, which means once it's also to have chometz in my house because it's already asur halachically. How come the chometz is mine? It's isur hano. Isur hano are halachically not yours. If you own a nice little Buddha golden statue, which is worth, I don't know, million rupee, yeah, in its place, you are the owner of 0 because isur hano is not yours. Yeah, Tim McKenzie came. Where's Tim? Tim McKenzie came to your house with a nice cheeseburger gave you a matana, a cheeseburger. He doesn't know. He's not trying to annoy you. Yeah. So then what? Then is it yours? No, because it's isur no. Now the chometz. How can the Torah say that the chometz is mine to get malchus for bali roy bali motze? Well, it's not really worth anything. Says the Rabbi Shmuel. Voila, that's the Torah's magic. HaKadosh Baruch Hu can do that. He can also split the sea. The Torah says your ownership divides into two. Mitzad the revach, anything good from the chometz is not yours. This chometz, which you didn't sell to a goy, is not yours. You have 1,000 pounds worth of whiskey, Scotch whiskey, not worth anything, halachically 0 on Pesach, yeah? And on the other hand, the fact you own it, so to speak, you keep it in your house, you chayiv malchus on it. So these are the two things that we're not concentrating now on chometz, we concentrate on the bar. Tistayim, says the Gemara, yes, you're right, good gay, good one. Tistayim is like, that's the right definition, beautiful. Ablozo basically says, again, let's summarize Ablozo. Ablozo seems to be the camp that's holding what? Within Rabbanon. When is it that you're potter on leaving behind a bow? If it fell accidentally. That thing, it fell off my back. I had no idea. Oi, oi, oi. Then what? Fell and I left it there. It says, it's not mine. I'm potter. But if I place it there on purpose, I'm chayiv. Like digging a bone, that I'm chayiv. Easy. That's a blozo. Let's just focus on blozo now. He's going to be the star of the show till almost the end of the Amud. Yeah, the red herring, by the way, is over. Don't try to find the red herring because we've passed it already. No notes to your wives. It's okay. Just good behavior. By the way, as an aside, anybody that's been with us from Avodah Zarah, that's a long time ago. So there we learned there's a third one, not mentioned in the Gemara, that's Avodah Zarah. Let's say Mr. Singh gave you his nice, beautiful booty getchke, worth a lot of money. Is it yours? No. It's isur no. Who isur no? Are you chayiv for keeping it in your house? Yes. You're not allowed to keep it in your house. You have to quickly kick it out to the street. Oh, maybe not to the street. You have to crush it, whatever we have to do. Yeah, you have to throw it Yam HaMelach. So that's also, that's not worth anything, but it's yours enough just for the bad stuff. That's not the issue now. Don't ask me on the Avodah Zarah because that's a very side thing. I don't like questions on,
So one thing, you gotta get rid of it. If I pick it up, I'm now.
No, it's anyhow. No, you're not picking a truck boat to be koine. You pick it up to throw it to Yam HaMelach. You pick it up to put it in the shredder. You throw it to the wind, whatever. Get rid of it. Frag the Gemara now, no blozo. Frag the Gemara. Umi Omar. Line starts with the word Omar, somewhere in the middle of the page. Umi Omar blozo hachi. Did your blozo really say that? What we just said? That if you placed something on purpose in the street with kavono and it's hefker, then you're chayiv on it. Look at the following case and you'll see the other way. I'm challenging it now from a whole new case. Please don't laugh at the next case. Rablozer says the other way, the opposite. It says in the mission of tomorrow's Amud. There's a galal. Galal is animal's dung. Yeah. The animal's dung is worth a lot of money in Kazakhstan, where it's cold and they use it as fuel to fuel the fire. Apparently, yes. Or let's say you are you're a farmer and you need that to fertilize your field before Shemitah, after Shemitah. And now the galal is worth money. You take with white, nice gloves, Corona gloves, you take the galal and hafach et galal. The galal is disturbing people. Nobody wants to step on the galal, yeah, on the feces, yeah. And you took the galal and you turned it to a different place. You took it from one place where it's been already, placed by Mackenzie, I don't know, and I took the galal and a hoifech, I turned it over and placed it in a new place, deployed it in a new place. V'huzak bein acher, and somebody else tripped into them in the new place where I placed it. Chayiv ben izkoi, says the Mishnah, I'm chayiv, because I'm doing a new peula. In other words, I canceled the previous placement. I'm placing it now in a new place. Now the chiyuv stopped by him and starts by me, North Korea, for the next 10 minutes, no question. Vama blozo. And that says Rablozo, listen carefully, there's a crucial point in the Amud. That's only true if when I picked it up, I had kavana to be zoiche. I picked up the dangi dang and I said, wow, I want that. And I did kinyan agbo, listen carefully to every word I say, 3 tfochim. I picked it off 3 tfochim off the ground. You celebrate the holiday of Sukkot? You know about 3 tfochim, Lovud? Right, good. I picked it up 3 tfochim or more. It's a new location halachically. It's kilu canceling what's happened before. And now, wait, I'm only chayv if I wanted to acquire it, to buy it. Then I'm chayv if I relocate it. Because now it's mine, owned by me. Whoa. But if I had no kavanah to gain, to acquire the galal, and though I lifted it up 3 tfachim, and I placed it back again, b'mezid, because it's hefker, I'm patu. Oh, that's not Reb Eliezer. I know, Alma, that is to say, mafkir nezokov patu. Excuse me, that's mamish against Reb Eliezer. Right? Reb Eliezer, you wanted to say, Reb Eliezer, you said, very simple. You wanted to say that if I place something viciously in Roshus Harabim Hefker, I'm chayiv. Here we see Patu. You see Reb Eliezer going, a pretzel he's making over here, only when I'm coining it. When I want to own it, then I'm chayiv for the replacement, the new location. Mashma what? Mashma that if I just placed it there on purpose, after I picked it up 3 tfachim, and I placed it back down, what do we say? Why am I Patu? Why am I Patu? Who cares about ownership? You told me Reb Eliezer says I'm chayiv if I place things viciously without ownership. Question. Okay. Quick. If you have something, unless it's very negative, then could not. No, quick. Yalla, quick. No, again, we have to. This is kind of Gemara which we have to have. You know, like it's a chain. It's a train that cannot stop unless it's very negative technical thing.
Question of if somebody else comes along to get rid of this thing, it's getting to have it, and then he takes it and he places it in the shoes for Rabi and so to speak, or another place that's a maboy off the.
No, that's a different story.
No, it's the same thing. He's not chayiv.
No, we're talking about Roshus Harabim. We're talking about Roshus Harabim here.
You don't have in order to make a Rabi. He did it. He deployed it. You use your lashon to another location, so people don't trip on it.
No, that's not the case here. No. He placed it in the same place, and he knows everyone will trip on it. He did not put it in a safer place. Yes, and yet sounds like his potter. Why? You're telling me he's only chayv, even though he's replacing it b'mezid. Lemaisa is only chayv according to Eliezer if he acquired it. He was magbia in order to acquire it b'kinyan agba. Mashma without kinyan it'd be potter. Good. And he's not being a good, nice American citizen. So it's a question of Eliezer, the way you understand him. He placed it in the same place. And therefore what? Since he did not put it in a new place, he placed it in the same place, we say, you know, I'm defending myself now. I'm the second guy who put it. I didn't put it in a new place where you can say, oh, it's a new action caused by you. I placed it in the same place as it was before. So I'm really continuing the nezek of Mr. Mackenzie. Well, let's say the first guy was Mackenzie, was Reuven. Reuven placed it in right next to the slide in Ayalon. I picked it up, hey, look everyone, Galal, and I placed it in exactly the same place. Exactly the same place. What? Later, wait to that. Yeah, and Havamina, it's not the case. Hofach means I put it 3 tfochim up, listen to me, and then I put it back down, because Lamais, it's back to square one. It's like, it's like I danced 1 step forwards, 1 step backwards. I didn't do anything, meaning it's not my chiyuv, it's Reuven's chiyuv, unless I acquire it, and that's a new thing. The whole bikush of the Gemara over here is to find, why am I chayav for doing something new? What's new about me coming here? If I picked it up and put it back down again, I didn't do anything new. It's back to square one. It's Reuven's thing. Therefore, in order to say that I brought a new, fresh chidush here, something of me, I'm chayav, is because I was koine. I acquired it, and therefore it's mine, therefore I'm chayav more. Again, no questions. Everything you says with the Gemara is saying, I can see the feeling here. Amar Ravina says, Moshel do Ravada Bravo. Ravina comes to support what we said. Ravada Bravo is a good answer. What is this like? Imagine yourself, a person finds a ball, megule, an uncovered, open door in the middle of the street, v'kisau. He covered it nicely with a nice metal cover. V'chazav v'gilau. Then again, he was choizer b'tshuva, then choizer b'shayla. Again, he uncovered it. He covered and then uncovered. Who's chayiv? Not the second guy, the first guy. Because the second guy can say, I helped and then I removed my help. But really, the pit, who dug the pit? The first guy, Reuven, not me. Same thing over here. When I took the dungy dung, I picked it and I put it back to the same place, I didn't do anything new. Therefore, I'm potter. Unless I acquire it and it's my ownership, my thing, my mammon, that's why I'm chayiv. But again, we're trying to say Rav Eliezer is good. But if I really dig a new hole that's hefker, or I place a new piece of donkey thing, then of course I'm chayiv. It's only because here there's nothing new that we need to be acquired with the new guy. The Gemara is now doichelet. Omer le mazut aveda mari Ravina mi dami Ravina. I'm sorry to ruin the fun. It's not the same. No, when you pick up a dunk thing 3 tfachim high and put it back again, it's not called putting back again. I'd like to now erase the English prefix re. I did not replace it, I placed it. Let me explain first in English and then in Aramaic. Imagine yourself there's a halachic camera, and only what's in the frame of the camera is what we care about. We have very keyhole vision. If there was a dungy thing on the street, and then I took it out of the 3 tfachim realm, it's out of the halachic camera. It's kilo, the thing is gone, canceled, stopped, finished, severed, gamarnu. Now I put it back in, it's not called putting back. It's a whole new placement. It's a new nezek, and therefore it should be mayach rice, even if I don't own it. Once it's 3 tfachim above and then back, it's not called back. It's called a whole new arrival. Israelis, no, even without koine. Why do you have to come on to koine? No, even without being koine. The fact that it's out of realm, out of the radar, mimeli, now it's new placement even without being koine. And therefore it doesn't make sense what you're saying. Therefore he should be chayv even if he's not koine. Look at the words of the Gemara. Midami, and your comparison to the boar was not right. Hossam, by the boar, lo istaleklu ma'aser rishon. When I find an uncovered, disgusting, dangerous boar in Rishus Rabi, oy vavoy, and I cover it, and then from some reason uncover it, then the first mice of the bow never went away. The bow remained the same bow all along. Covered or uncovered, the bow is the doing. 10 tfachim deep bore is the doings of Reuven. I'm playing around, playing it back and forth, dancing back and forth. But hocha over here is where the person took the dung 3 tfachim above and then placed it, not replace it, placed it. Istaleklu ma'aser rishon. The first mice is annulled, finished, end of story. Anybody who wants to be frustrated should use Zoom. There's a huge difference between stop recording and pause recording. That's exactly what's happening here. Yeah, this is not pause recording. It's stop, finished. Once it's 3 tfachim above, gamarnu. Reuven is out of the story. You shim it. You didn't re-put it. You put it from the out of realm. You placed kilo and nothing, and therefore you should be chayav all the time, even if you're not the owner, unless you tell Rabbi Eliezer thinks otherwise. You see here Rabbi Eliezer is in trouble because Rabbi Eliezer is telling me that even though I placed a new thing in Rishus Rabi, my patu, Why? Because it's hefker. Unless I own it. Mashma, he wants me to own it. Mashma, hefker and potter. You told me, Eliezer says hefker placing viciously is chayev. It continues the Gemara. Haloi dami elol moitzebo megule. You wouldn't compare it to a bow. I'll compare it to a real boar. Imagine yourself. He found a bow megule. V'tomimo. He completely stuffed it. Filled it to the gills. They filled it all the way up. That cancels the Reuven boar. My name is Shimon. Hi, I'm a nice American citizen. I moved to Ramat B'Shemesh from Louisiana 2 minutes ago, and I still want to keep the environment nice. I'm so naive. And what? I found a boar megula in the street. I completely stuffed it with earth. Now Reuven is potu. Reuven is potu. And I, Shimon from Louisiana, ve'chozel v'chofo. I now redug the boar, became Israeli already. He redug the boar. That's not called redigging. That's digging. It's not redigging. It's all new maisa. The istal kulu maisa rishon. The first maisa is mistalek. What's mistalek? Gone. Disappears. Good. The kaimala bilshusa. Now comes the second guy. Terrible question to Ablazo now. In other words, when I take the dung, place it above, way far, 3 tfachim, and then put it, I should be chayev. It's all new maisa. And why do I have to acquire it? Why do I have to own it? Unless you say, Eliezer is not what you said he is. Unless you said that Eliezer really holds that if I place something viciously in Rishus Rabim Hefker, I'm potter. And even if I dig a new bore in Rishus Rabim, I'm potter if it's Hefker. I'm only chayav if it's mine. Terrible question on Ablozo. Elam Rav Ashi, what you said, Tzvi. Comes Rav Ashi with an answer, and then I'll hear all your questions. Very, very easy. We're talking here about not a guy who placed it above 3 and then back down. And that's what Jeff wanted to say. You should be happy, Jeffrey. A note to your family. Let's say the person just turned it around, picked it less than 3 tfachim, and then placed it back down. Then I'll use a nice English prefix, re. He was there. I replaced it, but Lamaisa, it was never gone. When Reuven placed the donkey in Rishus Rabim, and I picked it 2 tfachim to examine it and put it back down, I'll let you talk in a minute, and then put it back down, then the first Maisa was never gone, never canceled. And then I can say, I didn't do anything. I didn't take it out and back in a whole new Maisa. Then I'm only chayav if I acquire it. Because then my kinyan and my Maisa is another Maisa. My kinyan, me owning it and trying to be koine. Rashi says even by haboto, even by looking, I'm koine it. The kinyan makes it new. Because location-wise, it's not a new location. Let's just continue one more thing, and then I'll love you for listening, and then I'll let you ask as much as you want. That's a great answer, by the way. Let's just pinpoint the answer. Meaning, Rabbi Eliezer, we stick to our guns. Rabbi Eliezer really believes that a person who places something in Rishus Rabim, a new item, comes Akiva with a whole new stone, never there before, boom, into Park Ayalon, and I say, I don't care. I don't want this in Lachish. It's called Nimbi, not in my backyard. I want it far, in Luz, in Rephaim. They should be over there, not in Lachish. I want my street clean and the other streets dirty. Oy v'voy. And if it's a whole new action, I'm chayev, says Ablozo. What's the story with the dung? Why do you have to own it? Because there, I didn't place a new thing. Let's say there was already a stone in Park Luz. I picked it up a little bit to show my kids. Look at the nice stone, and then place it back down. Less than 2 tfachim. I didn't do anything. What do you want from my life? Blame Reuven who placed it there to begin with, not me. And that's true. Therefore, over there he said, if I want to own this stone, if I picked it up to tzachim and I said, this is my stone forever, and then I placed it, of course then it's a problem, because my ownership brought new, fresh life to the thing. That's I'm chayv on the owning. That's a blozo. I would really, just 1 second. I promise to listen to your questions. There's just this piece in which you can't start tomorrow. It will be a very small question. The time in other words, why did real Rabbi Eliezer explain the Mishnah that way? Rabbi Eliezer is explaining a Mishnah. The Mishnah said what? The Mishnah said if you turn the goal in Rishus Rabim, you chayev. Yeah, then you are chayev. Why did Rabbi Eliezer have to twist it, to pretzel it like this? Why does he have to make an ukimta that you turn it over less than 3 tfachim? You know why you chayav miskaven liskosba? Just like I explained to you, because you own. The new thing is ownership. Ha'en miskaven liskosba loy, right? But if I picked it up 2 tfachim and back down, I didn't do anything new. No new ownership, no new location. Blame Reuven, the first guy, not me. Why do you have to say like that? Lukma, why can't you say a much simpler case? Lemala megimel. Say simpler. You picked it up above 3. And then even if I have no kavanah to be zoich, I'm chayiv because that's called a new placement, not replacement, a whole new thing. Why can't Eliezer just speak normal? Answers the Gemara, like you said. He had a difficulty with the Mishnah. We got there. The word of the Mishnah, Reb Eliezer actually was medak in the words of the Mishnah. The Mishnah didn't say higbiha. What's the higbiha? Lift, pick up. 3 tfachim. That's not what the Mishnah said. The Mishnah said hofach. What's hofach? Turned over. To turn over doesn't like if I picked something 3 tfachim, 3 tfachim is not so little. A whole 3 tfachim. Hey, look everybody, and then I put it back down. That's not called to turn it over. It's a whole new thing. The word hofach of the Mishnah sounds he just turned it over. He saw dung in the street, turns over to the other side. You know, like should have a different sunbathing, like the other direction. From the stomach to the back. That's all he's doing here, and therefore because of that. Mashma, there was no 3 tfachim movement. So if so, Reb Eliezer is a conundrum. So why should he be chayiv? He didn't do anything. It's chayiv because he owns it. Because in that small movement of picking it up a little bit, just a bit of haficha, he has kavanah to be koina, is chayiv. Yes, Baruch, I'm listening to your question. No, Baruch is going to be angry with me if I don't listen to. No 3 tfachim with kinyan, but there's a kinyan. Yes. Try and let it sink in, and then the shear is over. Thank you very much. Yeah.
And